Just wait till the girls are seated. Okay, recording in accordance with the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulation 2015. Public is advised that the proceedings of the meeting of council will be recorded on digital media to assist in the preparation of the minutes and to ensure that a true and accurate account of debate and discussions of the meeting is available. West Coast Council acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land in which we gather today and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. Item 311 is record of attendance, apologies and leave of absence. So, everyone's here, councillors. Very good. Item 312, financial interest declarations. So at this time of the meeting, if any councillor has a financial interest in any item on the agenda, may present that now or at the time before the item is discussed. No items. Okay. Item 313, confirmation of the minutes. Recommendation is the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the West Coast Council held at the West Coast Council Chambers, 11 Stitch Street, Queenstown, Tuesday the 26th of September 2023, a copy of which, having been previously circulated to councillors prior to the meeting, be confirmed as true and accurate record. Someone like to move that way, please. Move Councillor Ivanicki, seconded Councillor Newman. Put it to a vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 314 of the meeting is public participation and question time. So at this time of the meeting, we have 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes of the meeting set aside for any public questions. If anyone in the gallery wants to ask a question, please give your name and address before you ask the question. Any questions? No questions? Any questions from submitted? No. Okay, we'll keep moving then. Item 315. Council raised issues and information. Councillors, there will be no debate or argument in relation to the matter at the time. The questions on notice, there isn't any. Any questions without notice, councillors?
I did have one. I'm not sure if I can now. Are we still in closed session on that matter or not?
Which part?
No,
there's been a public
it's
announcement.
been a public announcement.
Okay.
Yep.
I do have a question. Can we, my question is, given our recent involvement in running a port, can we workshop the establishment of a strong waterfront advisory committee for the council? So it'll be another committee of council, but I think it might be quite useful in teaching us all about the running of a wharf and what we might need to do going in the future. Can we workshop that establishment, is my question.
Councillors, I believe that, well, from my point of view, councillors, I think that's a tremendous idea. Councillors happy with that? We take that to a workshop? Yep. Yeah, councillor?
We perhaps might try and organise a tour down to the Strong waterfront with, so the legal documents for transfer are still in process. So once all that's gone through, we can take access down to the waterfront to discuss with the staff that will be running it.
Yep. Okay, thanks, General Manager. I have a question on without notice as well. Given that the West Coast Weeds Committee has formulated again, we have got staff representative on that committee. My question is that would councillors be in a position to put a councillor representative on that committee, or more than one councillor, by all means? Just putting that out there. We will take that to a workshop to discuss, and if councillors wish, or we can make a decision now. But I'm happy to put my hand up to be one of the representatives, but by all means, if there's anyone else that would be willing to come along, I think we need to be part of that committee, given that staff have got a fair amount of work as well, and they are on that committee also, but just to take the burden off them a little bit, I think it's, we did have councillors on the original, the original committee. I believe that we're probably in a position that we should at least attempt to get some councillor input into that also.
Through you, Chair, I'd like to put my hand up if that's okay.
Councillor Homer? Yes. Is there any other councillors and Councillor Jordan? And of course, if anyone else would like to turn up, I'm sure that they'd be welcome any time anyway for his input.
Good idea. Fantastic.
Councillor Jordan, Councillor Hamer and myself. Okay, thank you, councillors. Very good, thank you for those councillors. We've got no motions without notice, and there's no motions. Oh, sorry, is there any motions without notice? Presume, no. And there's no motions on notice. Okay, item 316 is the Mayor and Councillor diaries and communications. For Nodi, any discussions on any of them, Councillor diaries? No? Okay, we'll keep moving then. Item 317, Councillor workshops. And for noting, the Council resolved to note the following workshops were conducted by Council since the last ordinary meeting. So we had a Council workshop today. We had a representation from Bluestone Rentals project, and also with regard to their ongoing business. Also, the West Coast Renewable Energy Project update. There was some discussion on the Union Steve Shipbuilding and also the nature strip policy. Any discussions on any of that workshop, councillors? No? Okay, item 318 is Council's decision and status report action item list. Council resolved that the status report action item of open council meeting decisions be received. Any discussions on any of them items?
Through you, Mayor.
Yes, Councillor.
Can I please ask that you can respond to Mrs. Gallagher, as that's been on there for 12 months now?
Yes, I have responded once, not formally.
If we can clear that up.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Through you, Mayor, I remain dumbfounded on our Queensland Park Run and the outcome of that. So I guess, have they returned the funding, or are they going to go ahead and do so?
Yes, if they haven't yet, they're in the process of doing so. The local group is still optimistic that maybe optimistic is the wrong word. They're still hopeful that a solution can be reached. Parkrun Australia has written to us and to them fairly clearly saying they won't support a parkrun on the airport because of the requirement to do a checklist and some risk issues. The local group is still advocating very strongly for it to go ahead, and I'm sure they hope to in the future.
So a little bit more on that, which I was going to respond during this session part. I'm talking to Senator Urquhart. She has been talking to a minister that is, federal minister that is highly tied up with Parkrun, and he is going to discuss the issue with Parkrun Australia. So with regard to the checklist that they needed to sign off on, as I said, most organisations now do a risk assessment, and it's mind-boggling that they don't see that as an issue, as a requirement.
Further that, Mayor, they fervently refuse to do so, which is just lunacy, absolutely ludicrous.
Yep. So Senator Urquhart is taking that up as well on behalf of the local group.
I'm going to ask her about that on Tuesday. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, just one question on the Youth Advisory Committee. How are we heading with that?
Emails should be out this week requesting nominations from our schools, and so your councillors will start to see some public nominations. We will have councillors going to end of year assemblies and things like that, so that will give us a second run if we don't get enough nominations throughout this process.
Thanks, General Manager. Okay, no other discussion on that?
Just a question, the Headley Fall and House Park, said they're ready to go to tendering. When should we hear back from them?
That's Zane and Queenstown Parks. Have they gone out yet? We're still waiting for the grant deed.
No, still waiting for the grant deed.
We're waiting for the final grant deed.
Thank you, General Manager. Item 319 is Committees of Council. For noting, Council resolved that Council Committee reports as presented be noted. So we've got one on the Emergency Management Committee, one from the Education and Training Committee. Any discussions on any of them two reports, councillors?
Through you, Mayor.
Yes, councillor.
On the Education and Training Committee, has there been any updates on the recruitment process for the team leader for West Coast Schools?
Yes, so they had the applications have gone out, well, the expression of interest has gone out for application. They had 6 apply. Had a shortlisting yesterday, but as it's going back out for re-advertisement. So, but there was a fairly good uptake.
I was going to say, through you, Matt, are we able to be on that panel as a community member?
I'm on the
Excellent.
Yes.
I'm on the panel,
All right.
Yes.
Just
Very important, that position for the
Yeah.
future of education on the West Coast.
and that was one of the reasons why we put our thing forward to make sure that we were represented on that committee.
we'll be removing the Education and Training Committee from this part of the report as well, just for council's information. So now we've wound up the Scholarship Fund and the Regional Training Fund. We'll still provide information on what the Education and Training Committee does, but we'll do it in the General Manager's reports, as it's no longer a council committee.
So there will still be a report from that committee to council. We've still got representation on the committee.
Yeah.
But it won't be through a formal committee of council. Okay, item 320 is the General Manager report. Recommendation is that General Manager report as presented be noted. For discussion, someone like to move that way, please? Move Councillor Butterfield, second Councillor Stringer. Open for discussion, councillors. Any
Through
discussion?
you, Mayor.
Yes, councillor.
Page 24 is the top small tourist town win. Congratulations to Queenstown. It's wonderful for the tourism industry to get a national award.
For the second year in a row.
For the second, exactly.
Oh,
Well, strong
on the
diversity.
West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is a good accolade, and as I've said in correspondence to the media, that great job by all those that were involved in that. It was certainly a good outcome, that's for sure. Okay. Any other discussions on that, council?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. I'm in the waste management report, page 60. There seems a marked increase in the amount of 30 and 15 mil, 30 cubic metre bins. So at the same time last year, so Queenstown 20 up to 54 already to date, so we've got nearly triple there. There's an enormous amount of increase in those bin movements. Is that?
No. So Queenstown year to date's 54. Previous year to date was 56.
Oh, sorry.
We do have a big increase in ZN for 6 metre bins, 6 metre squared bins. I'm not sure what that is.
So, yeah, there has been a huge increase in those, because basically the industrial world, remember the place where we put behind our bins to bits of buildings and the mine sites. So there's extra bins going out to all the mine sites as we speak, and 90% of them are 6 metre bins.
So we're getting waste management's growing.
Through you, Mayor.
Yes, councillor.
Page 59, the vandalism report. It's regrettable that we've experienced the 2 acts of vandalism in the Strawn Esplanade toilets, but this has created a huge issue with opening times of those toilets now, especially on weekends. Can I ask what are the current opening hours of those toilets, please?
Yeah, so during the week they're from 7 to 4 o'clock, Monday to Friday, and Saturdays are the same, 7 o'clock in the morning, where the visitor centres are closing a bit later, and not open on Sundays.
I'm getting huge issues of not being open on Sundays. with the proximity of the businesses and the tourists
If any,
living on the cruises.
it's very expensive for council to bring in a staff member to open up toilets. If any of the businesses in Strawn that are open on those days want to do that,
Can we investigate other options to have these open? It's a valuable asset for the community.
we're investigating options to change the way we're doing locking of toilets in and around Strawn. The Esplanade toilets are not conducive to having the timer doors on them, so no. Essentially, council will either need to accept the costs of vandalism and have them open over the entire weekend, or do a substantial rebuild to allow, because they're built in such a way that you can't put the timer doors on them, or council would need to bring someone in on Sunday to open and close them.
This is only the ones near the fuel station, the fuel dump, right next door to the fuel dump, the fuel depot there.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Yes.
So the other ones we're looking at putting in
So
the timers
effectively,
on.
you have no toilets on a Sunday in the main street of Strawn, where I'm getting continual calls every Sunday from businesses
Yeah. So
at the imposition to.
what's the cost of having someone come in on a Sunday? It's about $900, isn't it, per day?
Yes, but we've got other options open to us that we can investigate.
Such as?
Well, I've offered that we can do an MOU and I will go and open them on a Sunday.
Yeah. So if there's business people that wanted to do that, then yeah, they can make an approach to us. And
I think at the moment it's getting pretty busy.
Yeah.
And, that's the only toilets on the, the other ones are down the other end. That's where people are mulling, that's where they are,
We have to have one open on Sundays, we just can't, especially summertime, there's heaps of tourists around. There's got to be a toilet.
Yeah. Yeah, agree.
Perhaps we could both do it if you can't, okay?
And certainly I can go down and help too if need be.
Could that be a possibility?
well, you can't do it as councillors,
No.
but
As volunteers, could we do it as volunteers?
well, it'd be easier if there's an organisation that we're got an MOU with, like the golf club or something like that. So we do something similar with Tulla Progress Association. So that's completely fine.
We need to look into something because it's just not fit for purpose currently.
Well, the other option is to leave them open. But then we've got, well, hopefully the vandalism problem will be no longer. Things in place to try and rectify that as well.
But, so the vandalism cost was several $1,000s to.
Yeah, so the last episode with the Strawn toilets was $3,000 vandalism costs, and our vandalism cost for this last 12 months has been $13,000 on our toilets alone across the whole West Coast. So that is the other option. But if the golf club are willing to take out an MOU to open the toilets on the Sunday, I think that's probably an option that we should be certainly taking up.
We need to get the toilets open, so we need
Yep.
to find a way.
Thanks.
Just on toilets as well, we should be able to see if we can look at other options, and maybe the golf club might want to take that on as well as another place where you can get a token on Saturdays for showers. So that you can only get it Monday to Friday in the current setup.
We'll be moving away. As soon as we're moving away from tokens. Like tokens are a stopgap measure until we have internet available for credit card.
Okay, councillors, any other discussions on the general manager's report?
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, councillor.
Environmental health, page 66. With food vans and the permit system, is there only one space per town for vans to access? So, for example, if one van books, then another van cannot be in the town, is it?
No. So we have the food van policy, which sets out like preferred areas, but that doesn't mean that people can't be in other areas if they have permission. So for example, we don't control anything to do with private land or land not owned by council. They're just setting out our council-owned areas that we think are suitable for food vans. And I can think of some examples where we've had more than one food van in a town.
It's an avenue of delivery of food that we're going to really need to look at because we've got such a shortage of food businesses.
Well, the Strawn waterfront development designs the area to have food vans in the evening, for example.
Yeah.
So it's certainly something we'd consider when we do any of our developments. We would encourage private businesses people who have private land to look at food vans, and most of them don't even need permits from us, do they, Alison, when they're coming down to the West Coast for food vans? If they're permitted elsewhere.
If they've got a statewide food registration, they don't need a food permit from council, but they do have to apply for what we call a mobile vendor permissions. They can either do that on a yearly basis or a one-off basis. And then they go through the bookings process with reception to book where they want to be out of the council areas. But it is noted in that documentation that we're happy to work on other areas that council owns. So if they decide they want to be here instead of there.
But there is preferred areas, isn't there?
Yes.
Of council-owned land. So, for example, in
It's all
Queenstown.
in our car parks.
Yeah.
So, for example, in Queenstown, a lot of the food vans will go to the RSL car park. So they might have their yearly vendor thing. We don't have any say over who parks in the RSL car park. So we wouldn't get a booking application for that.
Thank you.
Okay, no other discussions, councillors? Put that to a vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 321, outstanding advocacy correspondence. For noting, council resolved that the outstanding advocacy correspondence as presented be noted. Any discussions on any of them points there, councillors? No?
Yes.
Yes, councillor?
I think, hang on, just make sure I've got the right page. Page 97 in correspondence.
Oh, we're not
Oh,
up to
no,
that
we're
yet.
on the correspondence yet.
Sorry.
Next one.
Next one.
Wait until we get correspondence.
Okay, we're about to move into correspondence. Item 322, correspondence. For noting, council resolved that the correspondence, both incoming and outgoing, as presented, be noted. So we've got one there for correspondence presented to council for a determination and response, and that was from Michelle Everett from Rosebery.
Yes, through you, Mayor. I'm grateful that Miss Everett wrote to us. However, I think some of the pictures that she's attached on page 98 may not be council assets. I'm guessing. So just that kind of educating people of what council does and doesn't do is an ongoing job.
Yes, for sure, and that was one point that that's why it's in the agenda, so that we can respond in that way, in that current frame. There is some of that is owned by MMG and
Some Health, Tas Health owns some of
yeah,
it.
Tas Health. owns
None of them are council assets.
No, none of them are.
I don't think so. Thank you.
On through you, Mayor, on a lot of correspondence asking for instance, Minister Gents to acknowledge or to let us know what he's doing, or just simply acknowledge the fact that we're working pretty hard to try and get him to achieve his results as well. Yet he fails to respond at all. Is there another strategy we should be adopting to get Minister Gents to actually work out how to put pen to paper? Are we missing something here?
Well, he's he's probably one of the ministers that we do struggle to get replies from. And when the replies do come from his office, they're totally different than what we've asked in the request in the first place. So.
It's downright rude of a minister just to not bother to respond. Downright rude. And I think maybe that's the, perhaps we should indicate that to him in a letter.
I think Matt said, I think the letters were sent asking, we see this many letters on these dates.
Yes.
Two-thirds of them were to Minister Gents.
Follow up.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get some response.
But it just can't continue like that. It's just not good enough from a minister to just ignore. A letter from a mayor, that's not good enough. not good
especially
enough.
portfolios that he's tied up in.
Yeah.
So I don't know, are we missing something in our strategy, our approach? Is there another approach we should be taking? I don't know.
We're when you look at it in relative terms, we're quite successful in getting
Yeah.
replies.
That means there's a lot of people that aren't getting a reply,
Yeah,
isn't there? A hell of a lot.
Mm.
Goodness me.
But we'll keep writing. I guess that's all we can do. And as you can see, we have had some response to some of them in recent, but there has been minister changes as well recently. So I guess it's probably we could send the same letter out, which we have done in the previous meeting, sent out to the new ministers. I guess we've had another minister change since our last meeting as well, so
We'll need to do that again.
we'll probably do that again. Yep. Thanks, Councillor.
Through you, Mayor.
Yes, Councillor.
Page 97, the Crown lease rental review for the camping ground at Macquarie Heads. What's the process for the review of the lease?
They send out a valuer who determines the market rent payable by us to Crown, and then they tell us the new rent.
So there'll be no stipulations, it'll just be a seamless process?
Yeah, it's just they'll just increase the rental amount. So then we have to pay more. So while we rent out to the site holders, we pay rent to Crown for that site as an overall site. Under the terms of our lease, they do market rental reviews, and they will just increase. There is a dispute mechanism if we don't think it's fair, but yeah. So there'll be I would think a relatively large market rent increase, just because market rents across Tasmania have gone up a lot across the board. So they will issue us an invoice.
Councillor? Okay, no other discussions on that matter?
Sorry, through you, Mayor, I have something about our advocacy follow-up. I know we've been really struggling with St Joseph's and the housing blocks. Catholic education.
Yes.
St Joseph's, so page 116. And kind of like Minister Jens, you're not having any luck with them, getting a response from them about those housing blocks in Dilbert Court. Is it worth exploring getting onto the Parents Association at St Joseph's and seeing if we can get a letter of support from them, or if they can press the issue with Catholic Ed? Because obviously that's only going to help the entire community as well.
Yeah, so we sent these out in September. We're going to have a look again, probably November, December, at what we do with the ones that we haven't received info back on and follow up, and we'll explore that option for those housing blocks. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Okay. Moving item 323 is a report event sponsorship for the 126th Mount Lyell Strawn Picnic. The recommendation is that Council approve the $2,000 cash event sponsorship for the Mount Lyell Strawn Picnic Committee, Inc. Someone like to move that way for discussion? Move Councillor Graham, seconded Councillor Hamer. Open for discussion, councillors. Any discussion on the matter, councillors, for or against?
I think it's a very good thing for the community of Strawn and the West Coast.
It is, certainly is, for the whole West Coast, and I guess it's one of them events that does see a lot of all West Coasters and non-West Coasters, ex-West Coasters come back for that event. Okay.
Through you, Mayor. The old boilers race is always a good one.
I just noticed in their correspondence that they haven't got named the gift. Just wondering if they could come back to council as the West Coast Council gift, given it used to be, with that sponsorship money that we're giving.
We can put the hard word on.
Okay, no other discussion. We'll put that to a vote. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Okay. Item 324 is another event sponsorship for the West Coast Ladies Community Group in association with the Rosebery Neighbourhood House. The recommendation is the council approve the $1,800 cash event sponsorship for the West Coast Ladies Community Group in association with the Rosebery Neighbourhood House West Coast Ladies Retreat. Someone like to move that way for discussion? Move councillor Graham, seconded councillor Butterfield. Open for discussions, councillors.
Could I just explain what's happened here?
Yes.
So, council approved a grant at the last meeting, so this event has already occurred. The grant was approved to the CWA, and the CWA didn't want the grant to come to them. There'd been some confusion between the different organisations organising this event. So CWA refused the grant, and the West Coast Ladies Retreat Group, community group, has then worked with the Rosebery Neighbourhood House. So it's essentially, council's already approved to give this money out, but it's a change of who the money's going to, so it's back to you for approval as per the policy. So that $1,800 you approved last time is not going to the Country Women's Association. This report is asking you to give it to the Rosebery Neighbourhood House as the organisation that's now helping the West Coast Ladies Community Group. Because the West Coast Ladies Community Group is an informal organisation.
Council, which has already been run.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah,
yes,
the event's already occurred.
Yeah. Councillors, any further discussion? I guess the only thing I'd like to see is a report from, which is part of the application anyway, come back from them how it's successful and how they did spend the money. I do notice that in their budget they did have transport bus hire, which is great to see that they've allowed that in their budget to move people around the West Coast to get to this event, which is one thing that we don't see from a lot of other events, take into account to try and get other West Coasters to their event, which is, it's great to see that they've catered for that in their application. Okay, council, put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 325. The report is, the recommendation is that council accept the licence agreement and authorise the West Coast MTB Club to commence development of the site with regard to the pump track down near the skate park in Queenstown. For discussion, someone like to move that way, please? Move Councillor Ivanicki, second Councillor Jordan. Open for discussion, councillors. So this did come to council before, and we asked that they go away and do a community consultation, which they've done, and brought it back to council. So
Through you, Mayor, there was some discussion at the last meeting as to whether this would need a development application. Did we get any further on establishing whether it did or didn't, or whether it was
Alison, did it need a development application, the pump track?
No, and that was noted in the report that came to council in March initially, I think. So that had been discussed prior to we got to this point.
very good?
no other discussion, councillor?
I think that the main thing for council to consider, so this is a 2-year lease or licence. The main risk to council is the residual risk after 2 years of maintaining the asset. I think in the normal course of business, we would go back to the mountain bike club and say, we want you to continue on as the licence holder. And in the absence of that, then council would be accepting you closing the asset or you're going to maintain it. It wouldn't be in accordance with our sport and recreation policy, or implementation plan rather, to maintain a pump track in Queenstown without removing the skate park, so replacing one asset with another. So that's something for council just to consider. Obviously it's not going to be an issue for a couple of years, but that would be the main risk, that we get 2 years down the track, mountain bike club can't maintain the asset, council's then put in the difficult position of either maintaining it themselves or closing the asset, which is always difficult.
Why only a 2? Sorry,
Or other organisations take on the responsibility as well.
Yeah.
are we constrained legally to give it just 2 years, or can we?
No, you can give it more. My understanding is the mountain bike club wants it for 2 years. They're in the back, so they can nod if that's the case.
And on the back and also on the back of that, there is a proposal to develop that area. There is another project happening, although albeit a little slow than we'd hoped, of redeveloping the skate park, and which will include a pump track as part of that as well through the local Lions Club. But that's
There'll be two
stalled.
pump tracks. So there'd be two pump tracks.
No, it'll be the same pump track, but it'll probably be an asphalted over the existing,
Right.
so an upgrade to the existing pump track
Okay.
to reduce the maintenance issues, if there is any. Okay, council, put it to a vote. All those in favour?
Right.
Against? Carried. Okay, that's done then. Item 326 is for noting. No, it's not. No, it's a recommendation. Is note that council note and report the concept design for construction a future project in the central business district in Queenstown with regard to parking and footpath improvement. Someone like to move that way, please, councillor, for discussion? Move councillor Jordan, second councillor Butterfield. Any discussions on the matter, councillors? Given that during the part of the report is that probably extending between the 25-26 financial year or even the 26-27 financial year, so it won't be something that's happening in the near future.
So in terms of total costs, we're looking at just over $2 million for asphalted footpaths, and approximately $3 million if the footpaths were concreted, and more than that if they were going to be pavers. So it is a relatively substantial project if it were to go ahead, among a few others that council has asked us to design up and look at. Would dramatically improve the parking amenity, particularly in Queenstown. And we've brought it to you as it's an annual plan action item to have it designed, but it would be a substantial project.
The design there, it's quite capable of being staged. Yeah, we can do a bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so we could break it up in various stages if council wanted to give us some direction on.
Different sections.
Yeah, which
What's the
which
priority?
parts?
What's not? What's or rather, which is the greater priority?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been trying to deal with a couple of different issues that council have brought to us, largely around the issue with the way parking is set up in Orr Street. So you have those incidents where vehicles are hitting shop fronts or the balconies. So this resolves that, and we'll also look to resolve the parking congestion issues down Cutton Street, particularly in that bottom half of Cutton Street. But yeah.
Before we voted on that, what's Taswater's position on the water with Queenstown? Is that going to interfere with any works that are going to go on? Or?
Taswater do have a forward plan of works that we would look at before doing work, but they're commencing relatively shortly water main renewals in Queenstown. So I suspect by the time council has the resources to complete this project, that's not going to be an issue. I don't think they're doing any renewals in Orr Street anyway.
No, none in the main street.
No.
So we'd seek funding for that, would we?
For this, well, that's an option. At least now it's on the table that maybe some LCIF or roads to recover. I don't know whether we can get that in that bucket of money, but I guess that's why we've got these set up. There may be a state election coming up that we can put it on the table for that as well. So there are all these options that, hopefully, as we've said, it's at least 26, 27 before our budget will be able to maintain to facilitate it. So
we're noting the report. That's what we're doing.
Giving any direction you have on if you do want us to look at particular stages or if you want any changes to the concept designs.
Yep.
That looks pretty good, doesn't it?
It does. And given the fact that, we have earmarked some other projects around other towns in the next financial year, and one after, so this is at least, the design and engineering's been done now that we've got something on the table that if we can get some funding, we can
So we're ready.
move with it, yep. Okay, council, put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, item 327 is the approval for the purchase of a front loader garbage truck. Recommendation is council approve a capital budget allocation of $350,000 to support the purchase of for a front loader garbage truck. Someone like to move that way, please? Move councillor Ivanicki, second to councillor McKay. Open for discussion, councillor. Any discussions on the matter?
We didn't put any budget allocation for this.
No, so heavy plant this year was just a continuation of the compactor program. This would have come to council in the annual planning process for next year. The reason we brought it now to get approval is the 18-month
Lead time.
So we're bringing it now so we can get it by the end
Start
of
helping.
yeah.
Start the process.
Yeah, so we need to get it approved, but this would be the heavy plant capex or part of the heavy plant capex for next year.
And I guess the thing to highlight there, councillor, is that the old truck will keep after the new one arrives as well, so we've got that backup. Given the amount of skip bins that we're seeing around, especially our mining industry at the moment, and that's likely to increase. And also, if we were successful with our application to the local government review board, there's probably another option that we'd need. The skip bins in other locations around close to our community.
What did we go for?
So it was,
What was it? What the truck? What was it?
I haven't.
No, you have to go to tender.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
let's
so
go.
once you approve this, we'll go out
Go
for
to
tender,
See what you got.
noting the expected 18-month lead time.
Yeah. Okay, councillors, no other discussion, put it to vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, item 327A, B, C and D is, item 327A is acceptance of the late agenda item. The recommendation is council resolved by absolute majority to consider the following matters for discussion as late items to the meeting agenda. Those being 327B, which is council goes into a planning authority role. 327C, the report development application for 112 Main Street, Zeehan. And then 327D, council out of planning authority role. Someone like to move that way, please. Move councillor McKay, second to councillor Butterfield. Okay, put it to a vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay. Council to move a planning authority. The recommendation is council now acts as a planning authority under the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 in accordance with the Regulations 25 of the Local Government Meeting Procedure Regulations 2015. Someone like to move that way, please? Move councillor Graham, second to councillor Newman. Put to a vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, item 327C, proposed commercial and accommodation complex at 112 Main Street, Zeehan. The recommendation is the council that the report by the planning officer dated the 10th of October 2023 concerning development application DA 2023/41 be received. The council approve the proposed commercial and accommodation complex at 112 Main Street, Zeehan, subject to the following conditions. 1. Endorsed plans. Consent is for proposed use and development substantial in accordance with the endorsed plans by Plans to Build in conjunction with Coactive Building Design Project number 23029.
No, 1 to
I'll just note that.
1
Just
to
note-
12. 1 to 12.
1 to
They're
12.
there. The plans are there. We've all got them.
Everyone's got them. Any discussions on, look for a vote, where are we? So, for open discussion, someone like to move that way. Move councillor Graham, second to councillor Butterfield. Open for discussion, councillors.
3 in there. Great proponents. I think this is would be great for Zeehan, and good on them for having a go at it. I do have a issue with number 6, not allowing them to put any security shutters or grills on the front. That may have significant impact on their capacity to get insurance on those buildings. Wonder what that's come from. Is it just obviously an aesthetics matter? They're only worried about what it looks like. They have security.
Buildings,
Heritage.
It just says the road frontage. It says all windows and doors are on facade facing road frontage. So, yeah, but if you have a look at the plan, all of those buildings are on a road frontage, all of them. So you can't put security shutters on those buildings. I mean, that's.
So are you saying that it should only be the
Main Street, on the
Main
Heritage
Street.
Building.
I think so. I mean, you've got to allow people to pull down shutters and put security if need be on their buildings. You can't plan it and say no. I mean, the Heritage Council probably argue against that, but if the Heritage Council wanted on that heritage path, then sure, we'll have to leave it. But I do have an issue with, that's a road frontage. That's Frederick Street,
Yeah.
so that is a road frontage. So
So you'd move an amendment, any windows or doors on a facade facing,
well, on
Main
the Heritage
Street.
Building, on the Heritage
On the
Building.
Heritage.
well, you don't want to go further than what they've said here, because it'd be on the frontage of Main Street.
Okay.
Main
Yeah,
Street.
okay, specify. Yeah, I suppose that satisfies my inquiry, I suppose, doesn't it?
Is there any windows on the Heritage Building on Frederick Street though?
Yep,
There is.
there is. Yeah, there is. Yeah. There's a window. You've got the front door coming in on the corner,
Yes.
and there's a window right beside it on Frederick, and then there's 2 on the front of Main.
Yep.
So, Alison, is that only a heritage condition? Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to move a motion, I guess the lowest risk motion to move will be any windows or doors on the facade of the heritage listed building.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen that before in a condition, to be honest. Certainly they dictate that any security matters must meet heritage standards or heritage character, but not denying access to that at all, you know what I mean? Shut me down if you think I'm wrong, guys. Please.
Well, that was a bank before. I would have thought it
It's a
already
bloody bank. You'd think if anything, there'd be bars on it, wouldn't it? Exactly.
had. Well, they would have been.
I never thought of it that way.
Never had any money in there.
No. I don't know if it's I don't know what to do with it. But I think if it pertains to the heritage building, then that's where it's to stop. I don't think those buildings down Frederick Street. I mean, if you look,
No.
that's all glass. You want some security protection there, wouldn't you? You can't get insurance unless you can demonstrate, security protection on a lot of commercial buildings. If you can't demonstrate it, you can't get insurance. They won't insure you.
Especially for retail outlets.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's product insurance and it's product integrity insurance you're talking about. They're 2 different policies, but you won't get it without demonstrating your insurance. Your security. Yeah.
So, councillor, you want to make amendments?
I do. If it pertains to the heritage building, that's where it stays, only on the heritage building. I don't think you should force it upon these buildings. If they want to put security shutters down at night, then they should be allowed to do so. I mean, I think you're going to struggle. I mean, I wouldn't get the product integrity insurance that I needed on the whiskey that I've got, and there's a lot of bloody whiskey in there, without demonstrating the insurance, the security. I wouldn't get it.
Through you, Mayor, can I just make a comment? If we're going to change that condition, we might have an issue. It's actually addressed at clause 14.4.3 on page 29. So it met the acceptable solution. So you'll note under it, it says A1 complies with conditioning, following condition is required to be included. Any windows, doors or facade facing frontage must not include security shutters or grills. So if you change that, it means that it triggers the performance criteria, which is a discretion. So it would change this, the planning report.
Change the approval. That's ridiculous. But,
So you'll
but the
see
planning
this
scheme, the planning scheme,
exclusion how it
the
lists
planning scheme has
nothing.
provisions that deny you getting access to insurance. That's just ludicrous. It's absolutely bloody
I
ludicrous.
think that councillor, if they had those in those planning, it would have been addressed under the performance
So,
criteria.
yeah, the proponent can
But it
address,
wasn't in their design drawings.
the proponent can address it through the performance
So
criteria.
they can change that down the track, but if we change it now, that's not going to work.
Right. Well, we've had a discussion again. I don't have that. Where's that in the report?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I find that absolutely ridiculous. Right. Yep, there it is. Good luck.
Okay, well, council, I guess we, are you happy to leave it as is?
No, we'll
then?
have to, yeah. That's just insane. You've just conditioned them against getting insurance. You've. Oh dear. Absolutely ridiculous.
Okay. Any other discussions on the matter, councillors? Put it to a vote. All those in favour?
Right.
Against? Carried. Item 327D is council move out of planning authority role. Recommendation is the council moves from the role as a planning authority back into council. Someone like to move that way, please? Move councillor Hamer, seconded councillor Stringer. Put it to a vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay. Item 328 is matters proposed for closed meeting. The recommendation is that items 330.23 to 337.23 be discussed by council in closed session. Someone like to move that way, please? Move councillor Newman, seconded councillor Jordan. Put to a vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay. Closed meeting. So thank you, proponents in the gallery. Thank you for your time. I'm going to the closed meeting, and those that are on Skype.